As he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth, and his disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" And Jesus answered, "It was not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God might be displayed in him." This is the first week of Healing and Comforting.
What must this guy do, or what did somebody do that this didn't happen right? Do you understand? So the disciples, they see the man who's born blind, and immediately their thought process goes to say somebody did something wrong, or somebody omitted something that they should have done, and we need to find out who it was and what they did. This is a very familiar process for us because typically this is what our motivation in reading the Bible, a lot of it is fear, and back of fear is judgmentalism. That is, we're afraid that we may not get in. We had a conversation this week on our family mission trip where the story of Jesus, the story Jesus tells about the sheep and the goats came up. And as we talked about it in our family, one of our family members was talking about the fact that the way that they read that was that this is a scripture that says, what do you need to do to stay in? Right? In other words, I know that I'm saved by grace, but what must I do once I'm saved by grace to make sure that I make the cut? So this kind of a reading of Scripture is always going to lead you astray. Now, it sounds like a very honorable reading of Scripture because you're saying, I'm ready to do something. I'm ready to do anything. I just need to know what it is. But the problem is that it's not nearly so honorable because, as we'll see when we get to the kind of reading that we want to do in Scripture, it misses the mark badly about why Scripture is given to us. This is not a manual to tell you what to do. This is not an instruction manual. Sometimes you read the Bible, people call those, say, well, this is the instruction manual on how I'm supposed to live, and it's most definitely not. It has huge holes in it in terms of giving you instruction in how to live, and people are more than willing to fill in the holes based upon what they think ought to be in those spots that hadn't been written up, like the disciples do. They make the assumption that something went wrong and somebody did something wrong in this case. And this is where that reading of Scripture will always get you. When you sit down to say, I need to try to figure out what I need to do, what comes along with that is to say, along the way, I'm going to figure out what you need to do, and then I'm going to be able to judge whether I'm doing it, whether you're doing it, whether I'm doing more of it than you're doing, whether you're doing enough of it, whether I'm doing enough of it, and where that puts us. And so it leads to the most rank kind of judgmentalism that typifies Christian experience.
Having said these things, he spat on the ground and made mud with the saliva. Then he anointed the man's eyes with the mud and said to him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. If you would like more information on .W Evangelical Church, check out dotheword.org.
Hear the word, do the word. .W